Organized Grind with Oracle Uno.
Yeah.
Recorded live at Graffiti Studios in South Minneapolis.
What's up, world? This is Oracle Uno checking in once again with episode 29 of Organized Grind, the podcast. Today we have another special guest from the Twin Cities scene. We have a entrepreneur. We have a fashion mogul of Minneapolis here. We got Neil Taylor. Say what's up, man.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful summer day.
Yeah. Dope. If you could come just a little closer to the mic. Is that cool? All right, cool. Well, yeah, as we always do on the podcast, we're gonna get into some fly hip-hop shit. We're gonna get into your history, because you seem to have a pretty awesome history and just story in general, and I'm really interested to hear about how you made your way over and how you became a part of our illustrious hip-hop scene here. So why don't we go ahead, we'll start it from the beginning. Where are you from, and where did you grow up?
So yeah, originally from England. I grew up in Exeter, down in Devon, and as far as I can tell here, that's kind of pretty close to Madison, Wisconsin, in terms of like size and feel.
Okay, sure. What was growing up in England like?
It was cool. I mean, it was pretty white, especially where I was growing up.
Sure.
I mean, just to give you an example, in my high school of 1,200 kids, I believe there were 3 or 4 of color.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was school like for you?
I enjoyed school. I was always academically pretty good.
Okay.
Except anything related to sport.
Okay.
So music was always my passion. I just ignored sport.
Sure. Can you remember what your very first memory with hip hop was?
Yep. There used to be so this is back in the early 80s, I would say about 83, 84.
Okay.
Breakdancing, b-boying was huge in the UK because of movies like Wild Style,
Sure.
Beat Street. That was really our main access to the culture, to get into like see it.
Okay.
Records were on the radio every now and then. If you were lucky, you might find a store that was carrying a decent range of like the hip hop that was coming out.
Sure.
But generally, actually getting to see the culture being made or kind of lived just came from limited exposure to those movies.
Sure. So what, like, can you describe some of the contrast between 80s music in England versus 80s music in America? Was there, did you have your own thing going on?
Yeah, the like electronic music, early electro and a lot of synths, that was big in the British scene.
Oh, okay.
And I think that really shaped the growth of hip hop there as well, because the early electro coming out of New York, so like Planet Rock,
Sure.
Africa Bambaataa, Soul Sonic Force, that era and that style, so that early really synth-driven electronic music, futuristic, talking about space,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's what we grew up on. There was a really influential series of compilation albums.
Okay.
Because most of the American hip-hop being made wasn't being released in the UK. You had to buy it on import,
Sure.
find special shops that would sell this imported hip-hop.
Okay.
So like, I when I was in my teens, I'd have to make journeys up to London to save up my money, go with a couple of friends. We knew the record stores, the clothing stores to go and find.
Sure.
So we'd save up, go on a spending spree, come back armed with maybe 20 albums and 12 inches,
Sure.
bunch of new gear.
Yeah. So, was there a lot of American hits at the time, or like pop stars, or did England kind of have their own lock on like the pop scene, or did you have anything considered pop, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Are the genres basically the same, or do you have your own genres in England?
I think heavy metal grew up a lot more in England than it did here. Like,
Okay.
So the early metal bands coming out, like heavy rock in the late 70s into the 80s, Iron Maiden.
Sure.
Def Leppard, just a couple I can think of because I really don't know the metal scene, but
Okay.
that was massive in my high school.
Okay.
So like, virtually every kid was either a metalhead or just, into pop.
Okay.
And then there were a couple of us into hip hop or reggae.
Sure. So as far as like breaking and fashion, were you guys basically just doing what the movies were, or did you try to put your own spin on the fashion and the culture in England?
Yeah, there was our own spin being put on it, definitely, but we were taking that point of reference of like that early 80s New York street style with the tracksuits, maybe the ski goggles.
Sure.
The I'm not wearing fat laces today. Pretty much every day I'm wearing sneakers with fat laces. But yeah, we would see that. So I didn't quite finish answering my section earlier about my first introduction to hip hop.
Oh, sure, sorry.
And that was when so I was saying breaking was massive. It was on kids' TV shows as well. Like there would be news magazine shows, and they'd be out like interviewing the London breaking crews.
Oh,
that
okay.
kind of stuff. So
that's
nationally, we were getting to see these little pockets of it. And in Exeter, where I grew up, there was the Master Blast crew, and they would have their linoleum outside one of the big stores in the city centre.
Okay.
Every Saturday, they'd be there with their boombox. There were like 6 of them, I think.
Dope.
Matching tracksuits with their names, their individual
shit.
names, and Master Blast crew on the back.
Hell yeah.
So seeing that, I was like, everything about this is just so foreign and exotic, and what is going on?
That's dope, man.
So yeah, just seeing those styles and the moves and stuff I couldn't do because, like I said, sport, anything to do with physical coordination, forget about it.
How about graffiti? Was that big?
Yeah, when I was in high school, there was a disused train station pretty close to where I lived and close to high school. That was known as the Wall of Fame locally.
Oh,
so
shit.
I didn't do graph, but I'd go down there and have a look, and
Yeah.
like me and my friends would go and like be in all of these burners and pieces and tags that we would see all over town.
Sure.
We're like, okay, yeah, they're down here.
Do you remember certain names that you could shout out now?
The big ones around town, NBS, the Naughty Bastards crew.
Okay.
So they'd be tagging up NBS all over town, so you'd see that
Nice.
just everywhere.
Shout out NBS, man. How about slang? Was slang the same, or did you have your own slang as well?
UK hip hop was
Yeah.
really heavily influenced by reggae.
Okay.
The UK in the mid 50s started actively recruiting from around the Commonwealth, so that's like countries that used to be part of the empire and then were very generously granted their freedom and independence, but at a high cost socially. This is my geography major coming through here.
Sure.
So I've studied all that stuff. But so reggae and Caribbean culture, particularly Jamaican, was always huge and very influential in the UK in terms of music, some styles, some slang, but yeah, music of black origin,
Sure.
reggae and hip hop in the UK, there was a lot of crossover. So Jamaican patois and like accents were pretty prominent in early UK hip hop.
Dope.
So that's like the Demon Boys, London Posse.
Sure. Was there a local hip hop scene around? Were there MCs and people like that?
Yep, as I was coming up, so when I was in my mid-teens, started to get to see, there was the South Side Alliance. So they were some older heads. They were, I'd say, most of them were about 3 or 4 years older than me. So yeah, they had the money, they had the equipment. So they were around MCs, DJs, producers, aerosol artists.
Okay.
So yeah, they had all the elements covered. Still good friends with plenty of them.
Was there a healthy amount of places that you could catch live hip hop, or did you have to go to parties for that?
No, definitely parties, but apart from that, there was one place on a Friday night, the basement at the Rose and Crown.
Okay.
So Southside basically were running that. They had a couple of DJs who'd be playing the local or the newest hits that they'd picked up. So they'd been up to London, or they had their connections. They were getting these imported albums and 12 inches. So we were catching all the new stuff. So yeah, that was every Friday night. It was go to the pub, go down in the basement. My crew, the South Side, a few other people, but there was kind of beef between us.
Okay,
South
okay.
Side.
How did that beef start?
Oh, fuck only knows.
Just like he said, she said shit.
Yeah.
Sounds about
You
right.
got
Par for the course.
Teens and early 20s, a lot of testosterone and alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your crew like?
So we had a couple of DJs, a couple of MCs. We just loved the culture.
Okay. Did you participate in any of the crafts?
I got a pair of turntables from Radio Shack when I was 16. I worked a summer, saved my money up.
Nice.
Got the realistic belt drive turntables and a mixer.
Wow, man.
So I got my first setup. Both of the motors burnt out on the turntables, and I was too broke to get them fixed. So that lasted a couple of years.
Sure. Did you get to do like shows and stuff like that?
A couple, yeah. Got to do a bit of warm-up DJing for one of the London crews that came through.
Okay.
There would be when I was like 17, 18, there was a series of concerts with the big rats from London coming down.
Okay, dope. So did you start doing this all in high school then?
Yeah.
Okay. And is your high school system, is it like ours here, or is it
no,
different?
it's quite different.
Okay.
So first school or primary school is 4 to 8, middle school is 8 to 12, and then high school is 12 to 16.
Okay.
And then if you want to, you can go on and do 2 more years at what we call college. And then if you want to go and do a degree, then you go to university.
Okay. How far did you get in that path? I'm sorry, that question came out all fucking scrambled. Did you graduate when you were 16?
I went on to college.
You went on to college?
Yeah, didn't do university though.
Got it. And
Did that here.
Is this when you started developing your hip hop skills?
So I was interested in music from a young age. I actually got obsessed with reggae when I was about 10. My intro to that was UB40.
Oh, okay.
Their early stuff, very political, real dope dub styles in there.
Yeah.
I grew up loving UB40 and just like buying everything I could of theirs. And there were a few other artists that were definitely a step towards hip hop. There was Shinehead's first album in '85.
Okay.
Which was ragga dancehall.
Okay. Shinehead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to check that out.
Yep. And there was also a local or a London MC, Smiley Culture.
Okay.
Or MC, or he'd call himself a DJ.
Sure.
In the Jamaican style.
Sure. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, they were both kind of incorporating elements of rapping. So that was my first real taster. I was just obsessed with reggae, but then I heard Bassline by Mantronics. Heard that on the radio, and there was something about it. It just stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, this sounds different to anything I've heard before.
Okay.
So bought the album. Beastie Boys had just broken after I got obsessed with Mantronics.
Mm-hmm.
And then Run DMC were like top of the charts.
Yeah.
So there was Run DMC and Beastie Boys and Mantronics were my first 3 major obsessions that made me know that this was the music that was probably going to captivate me for the rest of my life.
Word up, man.
And then Public Enemy's first album came out.
Yeah.
Eric B. and Rakim's first album. So like there was all of this classic material for me to just lose myself in.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, like, what's really special about that music is that it, no matter when you hear those certain songs, like, you can just envision the world that the MC is creating.
Yeah.
Like, image, but, you know, it's just, it's so dope. So after college, England College.
Yep.
What did you do with your life?
I went into a full-time job. It was just something I've been doing as my part-time job through college.
Sure.
And I was kind of lazy and didn't really have any idea about what I wanted to do.
What was the work you were doing?
I was working in a warehouse, like a wholesale warehouse. So we would sell to restaurants and convenience stores.
So like you're on a forklift or something like that?
I did know how to drive a forklift at one stage. I had a license, but no, it was customers would come in, they would buy these bulk packs of stuff to sell or use as ingredients in their restaurant.
Okay.
So I was on the checkouts or stocking the shelves, general warehouse stuff.
Sure. And so
and then got into management.
Oh, nice.
And then took a job in Oxford. So I moved away from Exeter when I was 22.
Okay, to Oxford? Mm-hmm. And so how far away is that?
It's about 160 miles.
Okay, all right. So it's not too far,
No.
but it's far enough. It's
Yeah.
almost like a state away or something like that.
Yeah, and closer to London, bit bigger, bit more cosmopolitan.
Okay. Dope. Well, yo, let's get into the first commercial break, and then we'll dive back into your story here. We'll figure out how you made it all the way here to our beautiful state, and how you got into your current fashion endeavors and journeys. So, yeah, this is Organized Grind the Podcast, episode 29 with Neil Taylor. We'll be right back.
Yo. Representing the Midwest, this is Truth Maze. Yes, y'all. Check out the new EP. It's entitled The Holy Bible. You can find it on Spotify and Apple Music and elsewhere. Red Pill Music, baby. You see, with my words I can heal or kill. Talk fuck shit or truly keep it real. I can grab up a burner and flame my brother, or he and I can train so we elevate each other. I could talk about pussy all day and all night and not admit I'm toxic and don't treat women right. I could tell everybody how to pop a new pill, or tell the next generation the matrix is real. Cause what I know is I hold the power at will. Still sharp and still, goddammit, it's ill. For mentally the blade I hold, it takes skill, specially designed so I can kill Bill. When the fake shit in me I need to reveal. That's what a god does with the ability to build. My soul is my rock, my spirit's my shield. My soul is my rock, my spirit's my shield.
Yes, y'all. Organized Grind the Podcast with Oracle Uno, episode 29, kicking it with Neil Taylor. So, we were talking about your history. You had just moved to Oxford now, right?
Yeah, so I was 22 when that happened. Didn't know anyone there, just moved with the job.
Okay.
Starting afresh. Was kind of done with the city I was living in.
Sure.
It was feeling a bit... it was just time for a change.
Okay, so what did you wind up doing now that you're in a new town?
First, kind of making a new group of friends,
Okay.
which was kind of limited to the people I was working with. So,
Sure.
A bunch of warehouse workers. So I ended up getting in with the party boys.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that was the weekend. It was pretty much fueled by just going out to the bars and getting
Sure.
wasted.
What was the vibe like there? Is it a smaller town, a big town?
It's about 150,000 maybe, so not huge, but very international because of the universities there.
Oh, okay.
So like tons of tourists, tons of international students. It's about 60 miles from London, so it's easy to get there for tourists who are in the area.
Sure. So, I guess not to fast forward too much, but how did you wind up making the move from England to the U.S.? This is good. It's gonna be a long story. Maybe I'll try and give you the short version. But Yeah, man.
All right.
Let's go ahead and get the long version. That's what we're here for.
So there was a friend of mine in Oxford. His one of his friends that he'd gone to college with for a year. What you would call college, what we would call university.
Okay, sure.
Was there for a 1-year exchange. He was from Minneapolis. They stayed in touch. John came over to visit us. He was on a 3-month visa. Ended up overstaying and staying for a year. So I got to know John really well. Okay. And then the circle of friends kept growing. So various trips back and forward.
Oh, okay.
Ended up with I'm in a 3-person relationship, so that I've got 2 partners, Carol and Anitra.
Okay.
They've been a couple for about 20 years.
Sure.
occasionally dated other people. I ended up in one of them, and it just clicked. So it was obviously a lot easier for me to move to the US than for two of them to figure out citizenship to get to the UK. So
Yeah.
I made the move to Minneapolis. I already knew the hip hop scene here through John. He'd started feeding me some Atmosphere,
Okay.
like their really early stuff.
Yeah. Is he in the scene?
Nope.
Okay.
He's an
Just a fan.
advertising exec.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, shout out John for putting you on the atmosphere.
Yeah. He's the connector between everyone I know here.
Okay.
All right.
So you just kind of breezed by. You're in a 3-person relationship. Is that hard to manage as far as taking care of all of the needs in something like that?
No, everything's one big unit. It's not. There are separate relationships going on. We're
Yeah.
3 of us together. We've got 2 kids. So Carol has one, and Anitra has one.
Sure.
They are sisters. We're all family.
Yeah.
So
You make it
just,
work.
Yeah, just a slightly larger family.
That's dope, man. Awesome. Yeah, you just don't hear about that too often, so I just wanted to make sure I asked about it, without just letting it breeze by.
So yeah, that's what brought me to Minneapolis, was coming to be with Carol and Anitra, but
Nice.
also knowing that what I'd seen of the city and what I knew of the hip hop scene was somewhere that I really wanted to be.
Okay, so what year did you make the move here?
2006.
Okay, 2006, and like,
So Bush years.
sure,
So
and
that was a big decision. It was like, do I really want to go into the belly of the beast?
yeah, right.
But yeah,
It's
glad I
crazy
did.
to just think about those years too, like just thinking about it, and then thinking about nowadays and just how it's evolved. So you move out here. You're aware of the hip hop scene. Were you like super excited to start seeing shows? Like, what was the first show that you saw when you came here?
The first big one I really remember was I can't remember the name of it. It was like a mini festival. It wasn't Rock the Bells. It was so Sage Francis was there. Atmosphere, Brother Ali, a bunch of Rhymes Hairs artists and a few from out of state. I think Blueprint probably.
Okay. Just like their network of friends.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a really dope festival. That was the day the bridge collapsed.
Oh shit.
So Brother Ali didn't actually make it because his DJ's wife was on the bridge or something.
Damn.
When it collapsed. So yeah, it was appearing on the monitors inside First Ave.
Damn.
I'm like, shit, what's going on?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was the first big one I remember for the music as well as the significance of the date it happened.
That's wild. So you operate as True Headz Clothing as well. Did that start when you moved up here, or what was the transition into figuring out like this operation that you currently have?
That came about completely by accident.
Yeah.
Like I said, I grew up in the mid 80s on early hip hop style. So, more than 50% of the sneakers I've ever owned probably have had fat laces in.
Yeah.
Still got 6 or 8 pairs at home. Puma suedes.
Sure.
Shell toes.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, True Headz Clothing, if you ever see the hats, you have like snapbacks and Kangol style hats. The hats with the fat laces, those are created by my man here, Neil Taylor. Now, yours are the first time I've ever seen a design like that.
Yeah, that's how they came about.
Is it the first
no
of
one
that
else,
kind?
Yeah, no one else was doing them. I just had this idea. It's like, I wear fat laces all the time. There's got to be a hat that will go with that. So I was just looking online. I became obsessed with finding a hat like I had in mind.
Yeah.
Nothing came close. There were some with little skinny laces that weren't laced up like a shoe.
Right.
But no, I wanted fat laces. So my wife, Anitra, is really crafty.
Okay.
So she's got a whole room dedicated to it, sewing machine, all sorts of equipment. So I told her what I wanted to do, and she showed me how to do it with what she had.
Wow.
So I made myself my own hat. I had some spare fat laces from a pair of Puma suedes I just bought.
Nice.
So bought a baseball cap, added the eyelets. So I used a punch to make the holes, put the eyelets in.
Yeah.
And then I had to figure out how to lace it up. 'cause
Okay.
it's not like a shoe where you can go. You've got the kind of the gap around the tongue where you can get underneath.
Sure.
A hat's a very different structure, so I had to figure that out. But as soon as I started wearing the hat, everyone just stopped me and started commenting like, "Where'd you get that?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Shit, I'm onto something here maybe." So I made 3 more, posted some pictures on Facebook. I'm like, "What do you think? I mean, is this worth my time?" And like the response was overwhelming. So okay, so I bought 10 more.
Yeah.
Different styles, so some camo ones, some two-tones, some solid colors. Just started customizing them and just been building slowly. So that started in 2016.
Wow.
Summer of 2016.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's super dope. So since you've been here to now, what are some of your highlights of just being around in the hip hop scene here? Like some of your favorite shows or best of times so far of being in our hip hop scene?
Oh, there have been so many. Dilla Days is how I really started to get connected with the hip hop scene here, and like get to know people rather than just going to shows and seeing people on stage, and being kind of introverted myself, just not going up to random strangers and starting a conversation with them.
Would you like to dig deeper into that? Into the days? I'm gonna stutter. That's why into Dilla Days.
Yeah, so
would you like to talk more about that?
So we're just about to do our 6th annual Dilla Days celebration in the Twin Cities this month. It's going to be at the Summer Cypher spot over at 35th and Bloomington. The first one, or the first in this series, because there was an earlier one that Michael Kilkindle put together a few years prior.
Sure.
But this was what turned out to be the start of a series.
Okay.
It was just a small panel discussion up at the old Knock offices on Broadway over north.
Okay.
So we had a few local producers. I remember Kool Hakeem, Kevin Beecham was on the panel. I'd actually got to know him through Rhyme Sayers a little bit by being in Fifth Element. Kevin Washington, the drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, and a few other people, Mike the Martyr.
Oh, sure.
So I helped put that on. I was working with this grassroots social justice organization, Save the Kids.
Okay.
And Reyes Romero, who is basically the figurehead behind the local Dilla Days organization.
Yeah.
I knew him through being one of the leaders at the Save the Kids organization.
Sure.
So I just helped in the background, like setting up tables and chairs and stuff, and was there for this panel discussion. And just seeing the influence that Dilla had on people and how he'd really made a huge personal impact on them. Mm-hmm. I stayed involved with the Dilla Days Foundation in the Twin Cities. So Beat Batch Wars, which is where I first met you.
Yeah, man.
One of those.
Yeah. Shout out to the Beat Batch Wars. That's actually how me and Truth Maze first connected too, was being at that battle at the Turf Club.
So yeah, it was Save the Kids and Dilla Days that I met Truth Maze through as well.
Oh, wow. That's dope, man. So besides that, some of your favorite moments, you were responsible for bringing in Grandmaster Caz, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's been one of my very favorite things in the Twin Cities.
Hell yeah. So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
show,
it was a dream I'd had for about 6 years before. I always knew the anniversary of Kool Herc's infamous party at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. So August 10th, 1973, that is considered by many to be like the inception point of hip-hop, where things just coalesced. There was the initial relationship between the DJ and the dancer.
Yeah.
And then the MC came in, and aerosol art kind of got incorporated just because of
the warehouses.
Moving in the same circles.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that urban backdrop.
Yeah. So was it hard to get in touch with Caz?
No, I reached out to him on Instagram.
Oh, wow. And that's how you booked it, was through Instagram.
Yeah, there was an email address on there, so I sent an email, explained that I had this vision for celebrating what was going to be the 45th anniversary of that party, like the foundation of hip-hop. I knew Caz had been there from almost the beginning, like he really got down in 74.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted someone who I knew was still active in the scene and would be a really great representation of the origins for us. Because I also knew that he did like a little history lecture as part of his services that he offered. So as well as like rocking the mic and the turntables.
Yeah, right.
Because Caz was the very first to simultaneously DJ and MC.
Damn. Yeah.
And he did that last August at the Nomad for us.
Yeah, he did.
But he also gave his little presentation, like his first-hand experience of those pioneer days in the early 70s.
Yeah, that
way
was
before hip-hop got on wax.
That was super dope. Was that your first time throwing a show?
No, I'd been working with Reyes and other Dilla Days committee members.
Okay.
So the previous, actually in April, we had Pete Rock for the main Dilla Days celebration.
Yeah.
Previous year, we'd had Prince Poe,
Okay.
Ed O.G., so some like golden age legends.
So what are because I'm sure when you were younger you would never have imagined you like getting to be able to book these people. What are some of the things that you learned throughout the process of trying to book these acts and people?
That
legends, really. I don't mean to call them acts, but you know.
Yeah, they're down to earth people. I mean, they've grown up in hip hop. They recognize people who also have that same passion and just love and who live the culture.
Yeah.
So you're meeting them on their level.
Yeah.
Or they're coming to you. They're the people I've worked with anyway. I've never displayed any ego. They've been like cool as fuck and just down to earth and real chill.
That's dope. So if you had like advice for a younger kid who might be thinking of booking someone of that stature, like what would you tell them?
Get to know that person's artistic output really well. If you don't already, if you're just like, okay, I'm thinking of people that other people might want to see. Make sure you know what they're about and what they stand for.
Okay.
Also, probably pays to do a bit of research on their live performances.
Sure.
There are certain artists that have got some reputations for being really difficult to deal with or just not turning up.
Okay. Yeah. That's some good shit, man.
But yeah, plan ahead, build yourself a project plan. Write down every detail that you can think of. Figure out when you need to do it, who's going to help you do it, how are you going to fund it.
Sure. That's some good shit. And then as far as running your own fashion operation, what have you learned there, and what kind of advice would you give to a younger person who may want to start something similar?
You've got to be really persistent. In the early days, you're building something from nothing. I've been consistently building by going out to shows, building relationships with people who put on any hip hop events around the Twin Cities. So getting invited in as a vendor, building a relationship with those people, building the network, just getting out there with people. Because if people don't know who you are, they've got less reason to fuck with you. Sure.
Have you learned any sort of like new jewels throughout the last 3-4 years while chasing this dream?
The main thing I've learned really, and it's something that's made me love the Twin Cities hip hop scene even more, is just how much love there is within the community. I'm probably mainly hanging out with slightly older generations, so maybe like mid-20s up or late 20s up. So a bit more stable, but people really look out for each other.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've seen that time and time again. Like, if someone's struggling, people will come together.
I've seen that lately a lot too, you know, with a lot of downfalls that happen to people, and it seems to be resolved rather quickly, which is awesome. So shout out to the Twin Cities, man. Well, we're going to get into the second commercial break, and then we'll come back. I play a game called the Lightning Gauntlet, which is 3 random questions. I have no idea what they are. And then we can talk about what you have planned in the future. And then we can wrap this up. So second commercial break. This is Organized Grind, the podcast with Oracle Uno, episode 29, kicking it with Neil Taylor, True Headz Clothing. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up, world? This is Oracle Uno checking in to let you know that I just released a brand new EP entitled Speech Therapy. It's entirely self-produced, and you can now get it at oricalUno.com. That's ORIKALUNO.com. Thank you for listening.
It's all unraveling, I feel it in my abdomen. About to take a swim in a bottle from the cabinet. Full throttle, hollowing the content of the glass I sip. Too much pain, yeah, the shit ain't even masking it. Okay, got a few loose things I need to tighten up. Do it in the dark before the sky tries to brighten up. Maneuver in the shadows, that's all I'm really used to. Most people always try to find a way to use it. Feeling for a drive, I'm in need to feel alive. 95 miles per hour on a 94 ride. Pissing off passerbyers that are forced to coincide with me. Middle finger up to the punk on the side of me. Rough around the edges, disrespecting the guest list. Use all my drink tickets and forget the set list. I've seen it all before and you ain't impressive. I ain't shit either, yeah, I've learned that lesson. Had it go in the wind. Got my windows open, I ain't holding it in. I try to take it slow, but the motion's intense. It happened too fast, can't get over the bends. Let it go, let it go, let it go in the wind. Got my windows open, I ain't holding it in. I try to take it slow, but the motion's intense. It happened too fast, can't get over the bends. Let it go, let it.
Yeah. My vision hazy, yeah, I know I'm living crazy though, drowning in the frequencies. Yes, y'all. Organized Grind the podcast with Oracle Uno, kicking it with Neil Taylor. This is episode 29 in full effect. Thank you for listening. So during our commercial break, a topic of conversation came up. So you had went to the Hip Hop Museum in DC?
Yeah. So last summer, I got contacted by someone at the Hip Hop Museum out in DC. And it was really, at that stage, it was a collection at a record studio of hip hop memorabilia that the owner of the record studio had just been amassing.
Sure.
It was kind of an informal hip hop museum. Some of it was up on display. Some of it was just stored in cupboards because there wasn't room for it.
Sure.
But he told me he had this vision. I actually got to meet him in the summer when I was out in DC visiting Carolyn and Nitra's family.
Okay, dope.
So yeah, we connected. He's a couple of years younger than me, but still an old school hip hop head. I'm 46 now.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm very grey in the beard.
Shout out to being wise.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to know Jeremy, and then turns out he'd managed to get a residency short term for a big a big full scale display in a museum with carefully curated displays. And he was going to do a big launch party and basically righting a historical wrong with one of the performances. So he was reuniting the Sugarhill gang.
Oh.
But there was always controversy with Sugarhill gang rappers' delight because the stolen rhymes from Grandmaster Caz.
Caz, shout out Caz.
So yeah, I knew Caz. I knew that history.
Yeah.
I knew the controversy. But what had happened is Jeremy and shout out to Jeremy Beaver at Listen Vision Studios in DC.
Word up. Shout out Jeremy.
Yeah, shout out Jeremy for sure. Yeah, real dude. So yeah, Jeremy was good friends with Caz, had some of his stuff in the museum up on display. Good friends with him, and was also friends with Master G from Sugarhill Gang, and had managed to convince Sugarhill Gang to let Caz perform his lyrics in the place of Big Bang Hank, because Hank had passed on.
Oh, rest in peace, Hank.
So for the first time ever, Grandmaster Caz got to perform his lyrics that had been taken.
Wow.
And he never got credit or any payment for.
Yeah.
He performed his lyrics with the rest of the Sugarhill Gang doing Rapper's Delight.
And was that a first?
Yeah, the very first time.
That's insane.
And Melle Mel was there as well. He was performing with Caz. Busy Bee was in the house.
Dude, what does Melle Mel sound like nowadays? Is he still the same?
Oh man, he's powerful.
Same power?
Yeah. You look at him, he's in the gym every day.
Real? He's swole? Oh shit.
He always was, and he's kept it up.
That's dope, man. That's really good to hear.
So yeah, I got to be out at the launch of the Hip Hop Museum for this party back in January.
Wow.
Jeremy loves my hats. He basically wears them every single day. I sponsor a show that he does every week.
Dope.
So I send him a box of hats every month.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got me in as a vendor, so DC's Hip Hop Elite and several artists got to see my gear, so I sold a ton of hats,
Congratulations.
some Kangol, a bunch of snapbacks.
Yeah.
Caz, I did a special edition one for him where I got patches made up with his logo.
Wow.
So I was selling those. He rocked one of those on stage with Melle Mel and with the Sugarhill gang.
Damn.
Trouble Funk performed with Melle Mel because they had a great hit in the early 80s, Pump Me Up.
Sure.
And it was the best night of my life.
Yeah. It sounds
Just
like
all
it.
of the hip-hop history that was in the house, all of the talent, the legends, just a real cool vibe. And then I got to be in the limo with Melle Mel, Grandmaster Caz, Wonder Mike, who fell asleep almost on me.
Damn.
Because we were all staying at the same hotel. So
what was that ride like in the limo?
we played it cool. I was with my man Devious out of Denver.
Played it cool.
Yeah, so we were talking together, just reminiscing about the old days. You know, we obviously paid them respect, but they were off in their own conversations, so we weren't fanboying them.
Sure.
We made sure they knew how much we respected them and
Yeah.
their contributions and their position.
That's super dope.
But yeah,
Wow. Well, congratulations on that moment, because that's a moment to cherish right there.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's what life is all about.
that's something I never thought I would even come close to.
Wow, man.
So yeah, I'm happy. My year's made.
That's so awesome. Before I forget too, I just remembered, didn't Target try to rip you off as far as like didn't they have like some kind of like bootleg like shoelace hat for a quick second?
No, there are quite a few other brands out there. I actually
okay.
there's one brand that looks like decent production. They do a bunch of sport team official licensing.
Oh, okay.
They tried it on with me, trying to say that I was stealing their idea, but I was like, yeah, okay, well,
Yeah.
I assume you've been talking to this person and sent them a link for something on eBay, and this person something sold on Amazon.
Yeah.
Something like 8 or 9, and never heard back from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a ton of shit out there.
If you could guess, what's the number of hats that you've made so far?
It's got to be over 1,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And 90 to 95% of them probably sold hand to hand
Wow.
at shows.
Wow, that's grind, man. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, let's get into this Lightning Gauntlet. The Lightning Gauntlet is a game that I like to play on Organized Grind, the podcast. It's 3 random questions pulled out of a pool of questions that I have no idea what they are. If you would like to submit your own questions for the Lightning Gauntlet, please send any number of questions to organizedgrindpodcast@gmail.com. So, here's question number 1 for Neil Taylor. What is the most memorable TV advertisement that you've ever seen?
When I was a kid, there was one for instant mashed potato. It was called Smash.
Okay.
So it was, powdered stuff in a bag, but they had these long-running ads with these characters. They were like robot aliens with kind of vocoder voices.
Nice.
And it was the catchline or the catchphrase was "For mash get smashed." But yeah, they just still stick with me. I can hear those voices.
That's
I
dope.
Can see the bouncy heads.
What was the name of the product again?
Smash.
Smash mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to have to YouTube that shit, see if that shit's still out there. Question number 2. What is one food that you don't like that you wish you did?
I really wish I enjoyed cilantro.
You don't like cilantro?
No, I'm one of those people. It tastes funny to me.
Are you a taco fan? Mm-hmm. So if cilantro winds up on the taco, you're just like, man, fuck this taco.
No, I'll pick bits off. I'll eat some, but if there's too much, it spoils the taste for me. I just wish I could enjoy it more.
Okay. Solid answer. And last question of the Lightning Gauntlet. If you were given a large grant to conduct extensive research on any topic of your choice, what would you study?
Man, you came up with that question.
Uh,
It's like, do I be really selfish and like indulge in some really deep hip hop history research?
I mean, yeah, if you
or do I do
large
something
grant.
more altruistic and something that's going to help a lot more people? I'd probably end up going with something environmental or to do with mass incarceration in the US, because that is a national disgrace.
Sure, I can dig it. Well, that was the Lightning Gauntlet with Neil Taylor. We're at the end of the podcast here. So, Neil, once again, thank you so much for coming through, being a guest on the podcast. I know this isn't your regular cup of tea, but I really appreciate your time and taking the time to sit down and chat. Do you have any final words? Do you have plugs? Where can people find True Headz Clothing? Lay it out there for the listeners.
Sure, yeah. I really appreciate you having me, and it's been fun telling my story and letting some people who might know me but not really know me find out a bit more about me.
Sidebar too, it's also very nice to get to kick it outside of a show, because I feel
for
like
sure.
I only see you when we're out and about and doing our thing, so it's super nice to actually just get to sit down and talk and be able to hear you without like blasting bass in the background.
Exactly.
Hey, Neil.
Yeah, this is much more comfortable.
But yeah, man, plug away.
Yeah, so my brand, you'll find me on Instagram. It's True Headz Clothing, so it's true, the heads with a Z, or a Z as I would say in England, but anyway. So True Headz Clothing, that's my Instagram and Facebook handle, and also my website, trueheadsclothing.com. Got to plug Dilla Days, which is coming up on Friday the 14th of June. We've got Rah Digga headlining at the UPTOWN VFW, bunch of other local heat, all female lineup. Desdemona is hosting, Soul Reflect is performing, Soul Star, JSO Creative, a couple of others. It's going to be a dope night. And then on the Saturday, of course, we've got Katana the Dawn is coming in, back in from Denver.
Nice.
She works beautifully with Soul Reflect. And then we've got Mia Ishmael. We've got Cassiopeia DJing. She's always great on the wheels.
Sounds like an amazing show.
It is, and that's just the first of 3 events we've got running throughout the weekend. Because J Dilla was taken at a really early age by lupus. We've got a fundraising walk organised. That's going to be in Minnehaha Park. You can find details on the Dilla Days page on Facebook. So a fundraising walk over at Minnehaha Park Saturday morning. That's the 15th of June. And then in the afternoon, we start over at the Summer Cypher. 35th and Bloomington. It's where the community comes together. Everything's on the block. It's basically a mini block party. All the elements represented. There's going to be live aerosol art, DJs, MC ciphers, drumming, production showcases, dancing. There's a purpose-built dance floor for everyone. It's the most beautiful place in the Twin Cities.
Dope.
We've got Mickey Breeze DJing, Cypreme, Brother Niles is going to be performing, some production from Ilan Brio, Mida, Orko Elohim, all dope artists. Tila Shawn is going to do a little tribute to Sun Chi. We've got Mike Dose coming through. That's in the daytime, so it starts at 2 p.m, runs through until about 10. And then at night we move inside into the art gallery and basement performance space. And then that's adults only. We've got Oracle Uno and Dispute One.
Yeah,
performing as OnePlusOne.
We in the building.
Truth Maze, who obviously you also rock.
Shout out Truth Maze.
Yep. MC ciphers. There's going to be drumming, beatbox ciphers, everything. That's going to be a real nice, intimate environment, kind of neighborhood party style.
Dope.
Yeah, come on through.
Yeah.
So an entire day and night at the Summer Cypher with the most beautiful people.
Dope, man. So yeah, make sure you cop a hat. If you see the artwork for the episode, you will see Neil wearing one of these hats. So check them out. You said that they could grab a hat where?
You can find me at shows. I'm at the Nomad every Tuesday night.
Okay.
Culture Thursdays, the first Thursday of every month at the Nomad. And then various other hip hop events. I got a ton of stuff going on. I was at Soundset.
Word up.
Got For the Love Festival coming up in St. Paul next month.
Dope.
Yeah, Dilla Days. Yeah, it's going to
Cool.
be a good, busy summer.
Dope shit. Well, hey, Neil, thank you so much for being on the show. We are going to end this episode with a song from Truth Maze. This is off of his Holy Bible EP. You can find that on Spotify, Apple Music, and all of the great streaming services out there. But this is Hardcore Graffiti by Truth Maze. This has been Organized Grind, the podcast, episode 29 with Oracle Uno. As always, peace and love.
Peace.
Organized Grind with Oracle Uno. Recorded live at Graph Fruit Studios in South Minneapolis.
You gotta deal with it.
But like if you see somebody, and your name is up there, and it's one of your friends, you say, hey, you like some nice graffiti, you know, like wow, teach me, they ain't never did it before. They never did it before.
My voice box holds ammo, you know me, famo. Hood field nigga with a hustling flow, my ancestors moan inside of my microphone. Presence evident when I'm freestyling in the zone. Eyes roll back into the beat, I meditate and speak. Stolen culture, braggadocio, ghetto technique. Loaded like a dirty pistol, clip full of DNA. Ink pen sensei, killer with the wordplay. Homeless griot, night against evil. Smooth by the speaker, mic royal, gargoyle. Goon to the people for the struggle, staying loyal. Self-defense minister, making the streets boil. Verbal smooth criminal, information administer, keeping it 100. No time for the subliminal. Mess in this age of misery and rage. Hardcore graffiti's what I spit on the stage.
There are so many regulations. Not everybody follows them, but
I hit him with that dojo flow from the Tempo 360. Black belt, water stout, to let you know I'm your host. Middle passage messenger, not your average. Soul stolen from Africa's Gold Coast. I love the hood the most. It taught me to know the legend, not to get too close, and that God was not a ghost. I hope you pay attention to my chaos comprehension. Remix my past life, I was a jazz musician, so I innovate, screaming forever, fuck the fake. Cause 95% of y'all done took the cake. See the microphone's my horn and I'ma blow it. My favorite MCs today are spoken word poets. I'm a combination of White Irish Rose and Moet. Hip-hop, you know it, we feel it and show it. That love, passion, misery, and rage. Hardcore graffiti, we spit on page.